If you're someone who yearns for something more, you might already be thinking about life in the land of ice and fire, Iceland. For today's video, I'm taking you with me to Iceland, the strangest country in the world. Together, we're going to munch on some ha-karlt and explore this beautifully eccentric country's diverse geography and culture. So, let's dive into it. What's life like in Iceland? There's a lot to be said about Iceland. Everything that you see in mainstream media about Iceland is only the tip of the iceberg. And hey, no pun intended. And while it's true that Iceland does have exquisite geothermal spas and volcanoes, the country boasts of a lot more than just that. Did you know that the country has almost 30 active volcanic zones, or that over 10% of the country is covered in glaciers? Another fun fact about Snæland, which if you didn't know was Iceland's name in the Icelandic language, literally translating to land of snow, is that it's one of the most popular filming locations for Hollywood directors. Remember that scene in Interstellar when all the astronauts find themselves on man's icy, black, and inhabitable planet? Well, all those scenes were shot at the Svínafellsjökull Glacier in Iceland. And what about the famous opening scene in the 2012 hit movie Prometheus? That was shot at the Dettifoss waterfall, which is located at the Vatnajökull National Park, situated in the northeast of Iceland. Now, as fun as talking about Iceland's involvement in my favorite Hollywood movies is, we can't all always stay inside a Hollywood dream. So let's get out of the big screen for a second and talk about the ground reality of Iceland. This way, if you actually want to move to the second largest island in Europe, you'll have the facts and figures right at your disposal. Some pros and cons of living in Iceland. If I was running out of time and someone were to ask me, should I move to Iceland? My honest and short answer would be yes. The long answer, however, would be a tad bit more nuanced than a simple yes, since there's a lot of ground to cover. On paper, Iceland is the perfect country to move to and is considered by all accounts a great place to live in. Having consistently been ranked among the top countries in the world as far as safety and quality of life are considered, it's easy to see why so many people are eager to move there. If the World Happiness Index is anything to go off on, Iceland holds the number 3 spot on it, which paints a pretty picture for most Icelanders. And Iceland has top-notch healthcare and education systems, with a clean, healthy environment and a strong and stable economy. Iceland was also one of the first countries in the world to illegalize the gender pay gap. Moreover, Iceland is a thriving hub of culture and outdoor excitement. You'll find yourself immersed in a thriving cultural scene, with music festivals, theater performances, and art exhibitions filling the air with creativity and joy. And for all you nature lovers out there, Iceland offers adventure in a variety of forms. From hikes and skiing to relaxing dips in natural hot springs, Iceland has got it all. Plus, there's something extraordinary about the Icelandic spirit. Warm, welcoming, and incredibly friendly. The locals take immense pride in their Viking heritage and love sharing their traditions and stories with visitors like you. With a low crime rate, you'll find yourself cocooned in safety too. Before you start fantasizing about life in the northern fjords, I'm gonna have to stop you right in your tracks and give you a reality check the size of the Fagradalsfjall volcano. As beautiful, safe, and happy Iceland is, remember that none of it is for free. The average cost of living in Iceland is extremely high. You're going to be spending a lot of money on utilities and food. But before you get frustrated at this revelation, let's talk about the why behind this. Luckily, it's a pretty straightforward thing to wrap your head around. Iceland is a small island, with a population of approximately 345,000 residents in an area spanning 103,000 square kilometers, which is 40,000 square miles for all of you watching from the UK. You'll be surprised to find that there are more sheep in Iceland than there are human beings, with the sheep population being somewhere around 600,000. Needless to say, Iceland imports goods and services from other neighboring countries, which is pretty expensive. And to add this to the country's remote location, difficult terrain, and harsh climates, you've got yourself the perfect recipe for even higher prices. Along with the spiked costs of transportation across Iceland, the island also has a high standard of living and a well-developed welfare system, which means that residents have to pay higher taxes. Lastly, over the course of the past decade or so, tourism has really begun to boom in Iceland, which increases the price of accommodation, dining, and activities even further, since there's more demand than there is supply. As for the island's job market, you'll be a little bummed out to know that it isn't particularly sympathetic to foreigners. But don't lose hope just yet. If you're looking to settle in Iceland for the long term, you'll be pleased to know that most expats say that the hassle of finding work and immigrating to Iceland is worth it in the end. Must-see sites and destinations in Iceland. Although working hours in Iceland are long and taxing, lasting around 47 hours a week for men and around 37 hours for women, there's a lot of fun and adventure to be had in this beautiful country too. One of the most captivating aspects of Iceland is the sheer and mind-boggling diversity of the landscape. When I say that there are some truly strange geographical formations on the island, I mean it. You'll find the largest glacier, Vatnajökull, in all of Europe on the island. And to add to that, Iceland also boasts of Leitrbog, the highest bird cliff in Europe. If you're like me and you find yourself bored at the typical vacation destinations with their sunny beaches and pina coladas and overly decorated resorts, head on down to some of these destinations in Iceland to experience Earth like you've never seen it before. Reynisfjara Black Sand Beach. Reynisfjara, a black sand beach, lies along Iceland's picturesque south coast, just beside the charming village of Vikimýrdal. With massive basalt stacks rising from the earth, this beach is truly one of a kind. Seeing just how peculiar the landscape of this beach is, it's no wonder National Geographic voted it among the top 10 non-tropical beaches to explore on our planet in 1991. According to local folklore, the basalt stacks are trolls turned to stone by the sun as they attempted to draw ships from the ocean to shore. Another fascinating tale tells of a husband who ventured to Reynisfjara seeking justice for his kidnapped and murdered wife. With determination, he confronted the trolls and cast a powerful spell, turning them to stone and ensuring they would never harm anyone ever again. As you can probably imagine from these lores, a certain sense of fantasy surrounds Reynisfjara. No wonder then that this beach made a guest appearance in Season 7 of the beloved HBO series Game of Thrones. Aurora Borealis. Iceland is famous for its northern lights. These glimmering, twinkling feats of nature can technically be seen from anywhere in Iceland on a clear day, but some locations offer visitors an ideal viewing experience. Some of these sites include the Thingvellir National Park in the south, the Asbjörgi Canyon in the north, and the Kirkjafell Mountains in the west. As a general rule of thumb, I'd suggest that you go to the darkest spot that you can find and wait for your eyes to adjust. Slowly look up at the sky, and you'll see flashes of color swirling beautifully all around you. Usually, the best time to look at the Aurora Borealis is around mid to late September. But if you book a guided tour any time of the year, chances are you'll see the breathtaking lights with the tour guide telling you where to look. Another advantage of booking a guided tour is that you can experience other activities, such as ice caving and glacier hiking too. Just make sure that you research the tour that you're interested in and check out their itinerary in advance. Silfra Fissure. Have you ever wondered what the space between two tectonic plates might look like? Well, in Iceland, you don't have to wonder. You can actually head on down to the Thingvellir National Park and see for yourself. Silfra Fissure is a remarkable site where the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates gracefully drift apart, leaving behind a mesmerizing scene. Back in 1789, a powerful earthquake shook the region, giving birth to several fissures. Among them, the Silfra Fissure earned its name Silfra, which translates to silvery, because of the glacial meltwater flowing from the nearby Langjökull Glacier. While fish rarely venture into the depths of Silfra, it's surrounded by colorful marine algae, including the bright green troll hair. These vibrant shades of jewel-like blues and greens create a surreal underwater paradise. Silfra Allure doesn't go unnoticed either, as the Professional Association of Diving Instructors, or PADI, recognizes it as one of the top 10 best diving sites globally. Laguna Azul. Known locally as Laguna Azul, Iceland's Blue Lagoon is a natural wonder unlike any other. Located 30 minutes away from Reykjavik, the Blue Lagoon is pretty accessible too. Unlike most locations in Iceland, you won't have to hike or walk hundreds of miles to reach there. Nestled amidst volcanic landscapes and geothermal activity, the Blue Lagoon is an oasis of relaxation. The lagoon's silica mud masks provide an additional touch of luxury, leaving your skin glowing and nourished. Surrounded by breathtaking lava fields, I can guarantee you've never been to a spa like this before. Now that we've talked about Iceland, I don't know about you, but I feel like I've got to check out the Laguna Azul for myself. There's just something so alluring about bathing in a warm, muddy blue pool. What about you? Are there any must-see Icelandic sites that I missed? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to click on that like button. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.